Hello, good morning and welcome back to Venice. In this video I'm going to be doing a food tour of the city and I'm heading to Mercato del Rialto to kick things off, the city's most historic food market. A €2 gondola journey is the way to arrive in style. Mercato del Rialto has been here for centuries and has been the prime place for many restaurants dotted around the city to collect their fresh produce in the morning. It's a lot quieter than it usually is, of course, because of the COVID-19 situation, but perhaps that'll make for good viewing and more personal touches with some of the stalls. Not only does Rialto Market have an abundance of seafood, it also has an extensive number of fresh fruit and vegetable stalls with the latest produce. The stall owners here will sometimes be generous enough to offer you free samples and tasters, but I think due to virus concerns, things are a little bit more cautious at the moment. Now, I'm gonna head on and try my first food of the day as I'm really hungry from walking around here. So let's hop to it and get to the eating. So I've now made my way over to near the train station to Pasticceria Dal Mas, probably the most historic cafe in town. And as you may know, Italians don't tend to overdo their breakfasts. They're usually quite light and if anything a little bit sweet. And so here is the perfect place to kick things off. And if you arrive in Venice in the morning coming from the train station, be sure to stop here on your way into town. So I'm kicking things off nice and easy here. I've got a cornetti, an Italian croissant, similar but just sort of made with less butter and it's a bit softer, and also of course a espresso to kick off the day. So let's try the cornetti first. I didn't realize, but this one has an orange sort of marmalade jam inside, but the cornetti itself is very pleasant to eat and soft and really easy to bite into, and flaky as well. Moving on to my espresso. Dark and bitter, but that kick that you need in the morning. There's nowhere to sit down inside the bakery, by the way, so you'll just have to stand up. But it's kind of convenient for people going to and from the train station to get a quick bite in the morning or midday. And there's a selection of different sweets and all kinds of pastries here to choose from. Doesn't have to be a cornetti. And there's also warm quiches and other savory items as well. So it's now lunchtime and I'm here in Enoteca al Volto, which has a claim to being one of the oldest bars in the whole of Venice. And it also does food, actually. I quite like the ceiling. You can see all of the old beer mats, which gives it kind of an interesting feel, and I love the wooden brown colours that are so vibrant in here. There's plenty of choice of traditional food on the menu, but there's also cicchetti and sandwiches available if you just want to have a little snack. I have gone with a classic Venetian dish, spaghetti al nero, which is made with squid ink, giving it its distinct colour. This is something I've been really looking forward to trying. And I've also got some white wine to match, as recommended by the waiter. So here it is, the spaghetti al nero has arrived. Look at that, an incredible colour. I mean, to a visitor to Venice, this might be a little bit concerning to see, but you know, black squid ink has been used in dishes across the world for years. It's got kind of a briny, fishy flavour to it, touch of salt, but it's not overwhelming like the colour might suggest. Be careful, by the way, this black stuff stains. If you get it on any of your clothes, it might not come out. Also, if you want to have it with rice or risotto, you can. That's also a popular thing to get al nero too. The spaghetti is quite al dente, so if you like it quite hard and chewy, then that's how the Italians, of course, do it. But if you're after rice, then you can also find that across Venice too. After the squid ink spaghetti, I'm looking to finish with something sweet, and the sun has now come out, although I am in the shade right now in a kind of cramped and dark corner of Venice. But I've come to a very famous place, possibly the best gelato place in the city, and it's known as Suso. So let's go inside and try one of the different gelato that they have on offer. You can see all the different flavors on offer here. Red in Italian for the most part, but I guess you can tell by the color. So here we go, my first gelato in Italy from arguably the best place. I've gone with salted pistachio cream, which apparently is one of the 4 most popular choices. Wow, that is incredible. Very rich, lots of flavor, sweet. Very, very nice. I'll go as far to say as that might have been the best ice cream I've ever had, although gelato is just slightly different. And Suso's is free of artificial colouring, and it's full of natural ingredients, which is great, of course. Not much footage of me eating it because it was going everywhere and I only had one hand to sort of switch on my camera and everything else, but take it from me, Suso will not disappoint you. So I've now come south of the Grand Canal to try some cicchetti, and I've also got famous Venetian drink Aperol Spritz here. But the food first. This is a very famous pastime here in Venice. You'll see lots of people getting these small snacks on bread. They have during happy hour, evening time, sometimes during the middle of the day, or even sort of around lunchtime. I've got 3 here, one of which is particularly well known, but I'll start with the tuna and onion. Delicious, great combination. Next up is arguably the most famous cicchetti of the lot, bacala mantecato. It's actually a dried cod, which is then seasoned with olive oil, salt and pepper and made into this kind of smooth paste, which is put onto some bread. So here we go. The cod mousse is really well balanced and lightly flavoured, and they come together really nicely to create a very creamy kind of taste. You can see why it's so popular. And finally, this is the kind of rogue choice, egg with flour on top, believe it or not, which really grabbed my eye, caught my attention, so let's see how it tastes. Lots of flavour, and the flour kind of gives it that little brittle texture to the smooth egg underneath, and it's absolutely delicious. Again, all of these are totally great. They all look very appetizing. I could have picked about 10 of them to try. €1.50 each, so very good value. If you're looking for something to eat and to save money here in notoriously expensive Venice, then cicchetti's a great way to go. Cicchetti down, and moving on to the drink. And if there's one beverage you have to try here in Venice that's of a Venetian origin, then it has to be this one. It's made with Prosecco and Aperol, which is bitter liquor, and soda water. Bottoms up. It's kind of bitter actually. Lightly flavoured, not a sweet drink at all, if that's what you feel like. If you like gin and tonics, this will probably be up your street. It didn't actually become popular until the 1950s when Aperol started to be mixed with white wine, and eventually this baby was invented. I love the colour of it though. I think it looks so cool in the glass. And you'll see loads of people around Venice churning these down throughout the day. If you like the look of this particular place, then I'll leave the name of it down below. It actually looks more like a wine cellar than it does a cicchetti place, but trust me on this, the cicchetti is very good, and most people you'll see in here will be drinking red or white wine, as are most of the local Italians in front of me. Dinner time now, and I'm in a place called Trattoria Bar Pontini, not far from the railway station, again in the north of Venice, and I'm starting with possibly the most classic Venetian dish as a starter. Sardines in Sar, which is essentially fried sardines soaked with lots of onion and then cooked with vinegar. And I have to say the presentation looks really good. Let's try some of the onions. A caramelized vinegar flavor almost reminds me a little bit of German sauerkraut. What about the sardines? Really good. Maybe this is the best dish I've tried today. Originally, this was used as a food that had its preservation qualities, where fishermen could go several days due to the fact it can keep away bacteria with the vinegar and the onion, and it could be kept cold. And that's why you see people all over the city kind of just scoop it up and put it on bread, or however they serve it in fine dining or just in a simple place. It's just a symbol of Venice you can see in all sorts of forms and variations, and the taste throughout is just top notch. This is highly recommended you try it as a starter perhaps before your meal. Main course is now here. As you can see, how spectacular does that look? So in Venice usually you have small soft fried crabs in the springtime, but we're just out of season, and so here instead I've got fritta misto, which is a mix of different seafood all fried, a classic Venetian thing to eat. And on here we've got prawns, squid, and other white fish as well, and polenta on the side just to round off the plate. So can't wait to get stuck in. So first up, let's try some of the fried squid. Salty, chewy, as squid is like that in texture. The zest of the lemon, just bringing the flavour up a notch. Let's take a little bit of the polenta. Kind of a hearty stomach filler. You'll find polenta in Eastern Europe particularly. So let's try the prawn. Best of the lot. Soft on the inside, crunchy in that fried flavour on the outside. Quite a nice thing to eat. In Venice, fried food is pretty popular, different types of fish. Having finished my dinner, there are a couple more places I want to squeeze in this evening before I end the video. And on my way back to St. Mark's Square in the sort of central main historic area of Venice, I stopped here at this very poignant place, and it has nothing to do with food, just out of my own interest. Behind me is where Marco Polo lived, the great traveller who I'm sure you've heard of, travelled along the Silk Road, spent time in China, lived in the court of Kublai Khan of the Mongol Empire, grandson of the great Genghis Khan. This is where he lived, just behind me here, of course, and it actually says on the sign, Chi furono la casa di Marco Polo, something along the lines of Marco Polo lived here, and this would have been the view he would have seen, right, from where he lived. And I doubt it's changed much today. You can see probably the buildings are the same. The bridge must be the same over this canal. Amazing to kind of just feel like you're part of history. And the fact it's so quiet right now and in kind of an off the beaten path area of Venice just makes it all that more incredible and interesting to me. So I'm now back here in St. Mark's Square once again, which is virtually empty, as it was on my first day. And these two places I'm about to visit are historic, kind of legendary here in Venice. And as such, I need to turn myself from a t-shirt backpacker into someone who looks like they may fit in here in Venice. So what do if you're a Tom, Dick and Harry and you want to turn yourself into some pompous, pretentious elite? Then get your jumper, put it over, flip the sleeves, voila. Now I look like a Monaco millionaire. So let's head in to the first place. So I'm now here in Cafe Quadri, which is a Baroque bar cafe, historic, on St. Mark's Square. It's been serving happy hours since 1638 and I've got myself a tiramisu here for 15 euros to finish up today. The ambience here is, without doubt, 10 out of 10. Finished the tiramisu there in Cafe Quadri, which was excellent, and it's worth just going in there to feel the ambience. Extortionate prices, let's be honest, but an experience, I think, here in Venice. And trying tiramisu anywhere in the city, whether it's expensive or relatively cheap, which will be hard to find cheap, but I mean affordable, let's say, it's worth tasting, as it's born in the region, not necessarily in Venice, but it's said to have been invented in Treviso, but I think it's disputed. But tiramisu is very much a staple of northeast Italy, and so it's worth tasting. One more place to go to, and then I'll end the video. St. Mark's Square at night time here for the first time. Beautiful, actually, all the lights, and pleasant to stroll in the evening after you've had a meal or something. So I was searching around to try and find a Bellini. I went to Harry's Bar, where it was invented by its owner years ago and it was closed, and then Bar Longhi, it was closed, and so I found this little place, and they only had a little bit left, but it's enough. Thanks to this really kind bartender who helped sort me out with one at 10 PM on a Wednesday night in post-corona world. So anyway, cheers.
I'll give you gum.
So the name of this place is Bar Caravel Eno, and it's also pretty close to St. Mark's Square and quite authentic, and I love the interior here. It's the restaurant, as you can see through here. It's really nice, and a Bellini here will only set you back 10 euros, whereas if you get it in the most original place, Harry's Bar, or with the view at Bar Longhi, it will cost you above 20 euros for one drink, which is obviously quite expensive. So if you want half the price, then this is a good one to try, with still a nice interior and friendly barman who helps sort you out. So cheers, and I'm going to end this video here. So thank you so much for watching this food and drink tour of Venice. I hope I did it a little bit of justice. There's just so many things to try, of course. I bet I've missed many, but please let me know in the comments below if you tried or drunk anything in Venice that you adored and you thought was worth giving a shout out to. Let me know if you want to see more food videos in Italy. Should I do one in Florence? Should I do one in Rome? Naples? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.